Got a great guest in studio today here now as we've got the Sheriff's Sit Down from the Mason County Sheriff's Office presented by our great friends at Our Community Credit Union, Jail Chief Kevin Hanson on studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to see you here, and it's always nice to have everybody come in and talk about the different issues happening within the Sheriff's Department, but good, too, to kind of have it broken out. And I know Casey's over in Ellensburg now meeting with the other sheriffs across the different 38 other counties along with him. They meet a couple times a year. So we've got you today to focus a little bit more on the jail and how things have been going. I know we've talked in the past about some conversations, and people are starting to move a little bit on where we may see a new jail, either in the county here or in neighboring counties, or kind of a mix of the two. What's the latest on that one?
So you all know we've been working with Grays Harbor, and Grays Harbor and Mason County hired a consultant to do a feasibility study. And that architect has been working with both counties for the last several months. And they've the initial part of the study had to do with population statistics and trying to figure out how big a jail we need to build, and each county, how big each county needs to do. And then at the end of the day, when they figure out how big a jail we need to build, then they're going to look at what a regional facility would look like to try to figure out what's going to be in the best interest of both counties.
Okay.
So we met last week, and their initial KMB is the architect company out of Olympia, and they say that if we keep doing what we're doing into the future for the next 20 years, we're going to need about a 200-bed jail with the ability to expand.
Wow.
So, and that's taken in consideration that we continue to foster the alternative programs that we've got, home monitoring and work release and day reporting, which allows people to actually do their jail time without having to be in jail. And we started that program about 3 years ago to help mitigate some of the overcrowding over there. And right now we're carrying about 20 people a day on those programs.
Do those
they actually pay to play?
So they have to participate a little bit. There's some back and forth on that. Do the studies show that those types of rehabilitation, is that work better or similar to being incarcerated 24/7? Or
well, studies do show that it is a benefit to try to help keep people out of jail. When people are on those alternative programs and they're in their communities, they get to stay at their home. They get to go to work. They get to take care of their families. They still get to be productive members of our community while taking care of their incarceration. It's been very, very helpful.
So when you look at these types of things, and I know other groups in our community have been doing feasibility studies on different things. You do one for a fast food joint or a restaurant or a hotel or something like that, and you try to figure out how many people pass through town and who would be likely to stop and what things go on there. But when it comes to a jail, if you guys are already from when the current Mason County Jail opened back in the 80s at max capacity day one, then you have to start sending inmates to Forks or to Nisqually or outlying areas. How did they assume that feasibility when you're able to bring folks in from all around our region to, help get those numbers? I mean, obviously you're not going to want to build like 1,000-bed jail, but if you build out the capacity, knowing that other groups who are all somewhat in the same scenario you are able to send folks here, that seems to be the best way to do it, or no?
Yeah. When they came out with the 200 bed facility number, they looked at how many cases are processed through the courts. They look at how many cases are processed through the prosecutor's office. They looked at the primary period they looked at was from about 2002 until 2017 when the sheriff put the cap on the jail.
Yeah.
And they were able to establish a growth rate. And so, knowing that we moved into the jail in 1985 with 46 inmates, we have 46 beds, like you said, and then we watched that population climb over the years. That's where they developed that data of 200 beds as our growth projections.
Okay. Well, it's been a long time conversation to get to where we're at here today. And is there any thoughts that, there's some sort of metric by the end of the year this will be in place, or by the end of 5 years we're cutting a ribbon? Or
well, the county's hoping to have this whole process wrapped up by midsummer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, we should have a pretty good idea of, what kind of facility we need, whether or not what's going to be in the best interest to do a joint facility with Grays Harbor. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
We're still in that preliminary statistical data gathering phase, and now we're actually looking at what a jail would look like.
Sure.
Well, earlier this year, we saw Donald Hartwell get out of the courtroom building there, and I guess new Washington policy, prisoners can't be restrained in court, but you were telling us about something that you guys have come up with that could be an alternative.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
yeah. There was a case. I think I briefed on this before. There was a case from last year, actually, in Washington State Court of Appeals, that says that we can't just randomly restrain people when we take them to court anymore, unless a judge gives us specific authorization, and it has to be individualized authorization for each person we take to court. Last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, we took 32 people to court.
Wow.
And so that would have, if we would have asked for every single person to be restrained, that would have been 32 separate hearings. So I did a little research around the state to try to figure out how other counties are dealing with this, and we came up with a electronic device that's called a stun cuff that we apply to the prisoner's legs, and
Both legs?
well, one or two, depending. We only need one, really.
Sure.
So that that's not considered a restraint. The inmate still has the ability to defend themselves in courts. They can still write. They can still, pass papers or whatever they need to do, which is why the Constitution, Washington State Constitution, says that they have to have the ability.
It's probably
to do
not
that.
visible, right? The whole
Correct.
thing is
You can't see it. It's on your leg. It's very inconspicuous, and it's controlled by remote control. And if the inmate doesn't do what they're supposed to do, or they attack somebody, or they try to run away, then they get shocked. And my staff, I had 3 volunteers in my staff the other day. We went through training actually get shocked with this thing, and you cannot run when you're getting shocked.
So if you're starting to head out the door, I see you got your remote.
You will
push
fall
it.
down.
Boom.
You will fall down.
Wow. So it would be similar to kind of one of those in-home GPS things, kind of that around the ankle.
Yeah, like a GPS monitoring bracelet. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What's the? Do you know what the?
80,000 volts.
Okay. 80,000.
80,000.
Great
It's just
Scott.
it's low amperage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't feel good.
So this came, some other sheriff's office somewhere else in the state faced a similar situation, I'm sure, of somebody running who wasn't secured, and because of this law, and they found this.
Yeah, that actually came out of Grant County.
Is that where it came out of?
Yeah. And then, of course, I worked with the courts and the prosecutor's office and the defense counsel here, and we all came to the same conclusion that, that sounds like a reasonable response to that problem.
Wow.
So hopefully we can be better served and protect safety in the courtroom from here on out.
So if you had to do 32 last week, you didn't get 32 of these units, did you?
No, we only take them up. I got 4 units.
You determine.
We only take them up 2 or 3 at a time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What else is going on with the jail?
We're hurting for staff.
Okay.
We have 3 vacant positions out of 27. We got another retirement coming up here pretty quick. So there'll be 4.
What's an ideal candidate look like for something like this? Past law enforcement, past military experience?
No, not necessarily. We need people to have common sense. We got to have people that are professional and respectful, accountable. We just want good people. Our objective is to treat people right when they're in jail, and it takes good people to do that. So you got to be 21 years old, have a high school education or GED, no criminal history, and basically that's it.
And it's the same for inmates, but I think it's also the same as we've talked over the years for the law enforcement professionals in the jails as well. It's kind of a outside of society's purview. People on a day-to-day basis driving around town, they don't really think about not only the inmates, but maybe the folks too that are there with the keys, the folks working there. And that can be a real rewarding job to see some of the folks who are able to make better their lives after that time inside, but also it can be a stressful job for folks. Is there opportunities like good benefits like able to talk to people, counseling and things like that, all that good
Yeah,
stuff?
for sure. Probably one of the most satisfying things is to see that you made a difference in somebody's life, whether it be a coworker or a supervisor or an inmate or a member of the community, somebody's mom that comes to jail and their kids in jail or something. Is just seeing that accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it is gratifying. It's a good job. It pays enough that you raise your family and have a few toys here and there, and you have a good retirement system. After I'm facing almost 30 years and doing this, and I'll be able to walk away from a couple years and have a great retirement.
And be okay.
Yeah.
Well, head over to the sheriff's office website, county website. They'll have all that information for you as well. Kevin, good to see you.
Yeah, it was good to see
on
you
this
guys.
Thanks for coming
Monday.
in.